Hey, this is Dan from GigaBoots.com, and welcome to the tour of the LittleBigPlanet 2 Move Pack. So instead of doing our normal quick play, which is how we show off games, I figured I would instead do an edited approach because there's a lot of content in this and it's a little hard to show off. The first thing that's really neat that most LittleBigPlanet people will find interesting is you can move your head with the 6-axis or DualShock 3 controller by tilting it. But when you use the Move controller, it's a lot easier to articulate, and it's much more responsive and fast. So I can actually mime my character a lot better, which, as you may or may not know from trying to record actions for cutscenes or whatever, that can come in pretty handy. In any case, let's go ahead and jump into a level I made so I can show you some of the other new features. Okay, and here we are in the level. So the first thing I'm going to show off is... in the Move Pack, you get the ability to paint. And with this painting ability, you can make certain little pictures, like this. This isn't my work, but I stuck someone with a painting program for a bit, and they made that. Here's some footage to show off how that looks. The background was dropped in later as an image of a sticker I already had. So it's pretty cool. It's nifty. It's not exactly the most fine-grained tool, but it's good and interesting to use and try out. In any case, yeah, they added a new material so that way you could have a transparent layer that it pops up on. And you can set up switches to display it and everything. So that's one of the first things they throw at you. Second thing you could do with the Move controller is actually puppeteer, just straight up recorded animation. And there are two different ways of doing this. You can either have the character you grab with the Move controller follow a cursor as though you're aiming at the screen, or you can point the Move controller towards the sky as though it's a little puppet stick and just move it around spatially. Instead of aiming at where you want it to go on the screen, you move it accordingly. So I use that second method of recording the animation for this thing, which you'll see is sort of puppet-ish looking. I mean, obviously the model's pretty rudimentary, but it was just meant to show off how it would look if you did that. You know, this is just going to show that off. And of course, there's lots of different stuff you can do with that. Much more interesting ways you can implement it than what I've just shown you. But I'm just trying to go through this really quick. So here we go. This right here, this thing to my right, is the Movinator, which is a lot like the Controlinator that came with LittleBigPlanet 2, but much better. So I've equipped this Movinator with a cursor feature, which is a chip, much like things you would stick into the circuitry of the Movinator to give it abilities. So the cursor allows me to grab things and mess with them. So I can now spin this thing around or even fling it and just let it go. So lots of interesting things you can do with this. Just grabbing this wheel is an easy way to show off one of them. So let me go ahead and jump out real quick of this here. How do we get out of this? So in any case, that's that. This is another implementation of the Movinator, wherein you use the cursor, which you can make the cursor any image. In this instance, I made it a hand just because I could. So this is my hand. It's on that first ball, and if I use the T button, which is the trigger on the Move controller, it will actually pop it because that's what I've programmed these things to do. So you can do neat little shooting galleries like that. So these are just two simple options. Not only do you get to use the Move controller as a cursor, but you can also set it just to, without the cursor, movement. Like you moving the controller will move an object on screen, not a cursor. Like a giant wheel, you could spin the Move controller to spin the wheel. Or any of the buttons can be wired to do anything. So there are a lot of interesting things you can do with the Movinator, and it's just one of the many things they've added with the Move Pack. In any case, a lot of the Move Pack stuff just layers on top of old things. You get the painting, the Movinator, and of course recording the animations, but you also get a whole new single player, so let me jump into that to show that off. So to get to the PlayStation Move Pack levels, you have to go to the store and then My Stuff, and then go over here to LittleBigPlanet 2 Move Pack. It isn't the easiest thing to find, but, you know, whatever. These are good levels, so let that load. So what they've made here is a puzzle game. The thing on the left is a timer, and I click on these things, and it will in fact disappear them. Larger amount I get at once, the higher the multiplier. It's really fun. Like, this is awesome. This makes me wish more PlayStation Network titles supported Move exclusively for, you know, puzzle games and the like. Okay, I've definitely played enough of this, so let me go ahead and jump out of it. Sorry guys, that thing's just too fun. It really is. Okay, here is another minigame, using the Move controller. And the entire point here is to use the Move to balance this board. It's pretty cool. You know, it's based on movement, of course, instead of where the cursor is aiming at on the screen, which is a much more interesting use of the Move controller, in my opinion, than using it as a selection cursor. But, you know, both are valid. Both have interesting possibilities for making levels. So, either way, we're good, so long as we're getting that. But, yeah, you basically get the idea here. It's a cool little puzzle. You know, the faster you go, the more points you get, set a record, etc., etc. So, I'm going to go ahead and jump out of that and go to the normal story mode. That is included with the Move pack.
The Sackbot village is where this story starts. A place of culture, prosperity, mixed media art. Those small wooden guys are called Sackbots, I'm told. Outside, carved from maple, inside, hearts of gold.
So yeah, as you can hear the narrator going, the Move Pack single-player levels have a sort of fairy tale-esque feeling to them, which is totally awesome, I would like to know. That is just... I kind of wish LittleBigPlanet 2's normal single-player went like that. I mean, it was neat, but it wasn't like fairy tale-esque, which I think really fits the style of LittleBigPlanet. Hopefully the Vita title sort of goes in that direction. Okay, and this guy's going to show us how to use the Brain Crane, one of the new items that comes with the Move Pack. Here we go, just run up and grab it. And now, as you can see, that field is where I'm aiming my Move controller. And I can pick it up with T and just sort of do whatever with it. Including bash him over the head. So there we go. So that is a really good use. Like, if you ever looked at the older showings of what this pack would be like, or stuff, LittleBigPlanet 2 using the Move controller, they had a cursor instead of this really cool field. And in fact, that's what prehistoric moves used. They used a sort of cursor, not a magnetic field type thing. This thing's really neat. I'm glad they spent the time necessary to make this really polished package of new features and interesting aesthetic to the new story levels, and, you know, just this new item instead of it just being cursor based, it being a legitimate item. But in any case, I don't want to show too much off here. This is just supposed to be a tour of the new features. Just know that the uses of this can be very interesting, much like the normal cursor on the Movinator in your own custom levels. So this Move Pack, personally, has gotten me a lot more interested in making levels in LittleBigPlanet again. Because even though if it's a limited audience, you know that audience is more interested in your level than they would be otherwise, just because you have move functionality, which I'm going to tell you right now, not a huge percentage of the people with LittleBigPlanet are going to be making move levels. But in any case, enough of me rambling. I'm interested. I find the motion control stuff very awesome, and in fact, this reinforces exactly why I am interested in LittleBigPlanet on the Vita, because of the touchscreen and motion controls and that, adding some interesting ways to make levels. Only on the Vita it's going to be even better, just because everyone's going to have that functionality by default. So that's going to be cool. Also, it'll be easier to dupe your friends into playing your levels.
For video reviews, quick plays, top 8s, and more, go to GigaBoots.com.
Hey, this is Dan from GigaBoots.com, and welcome to the tour of the LittleBigPlanet 2 Move Pack. Instead of doing our normal quick play, I figured I would just give you an edited... No, God, you just... Dude, no. Jesus. I just told you I was gonna do it. You just ruined the quick... You're like, hey, do a quick play. Do a quick play. Show it off in a quick play. And then you're like, I'm gonna interrupt the quick play. That's what you're like. That's you. That's how dumb you sound.